Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John. This reports for the 26th of January. Well, futures overnight, you had a big drop that is obviously filled back in, and that was just the basic return off the early dump. Everything clean within the magenta, popping back over. Shorts really never really took charge of anything on this, and no dip below the red line. So that's all filling in at the 50%. Not bad, given that it was just literally instantaneous and then right back up. And of course, this was all the Greenland nonsense and everything else. But you see what's building next is the government shutdown. They're not going to go with the whole DHS funding, and so that's going to be the impediment. And you know, this was already staged. We could already see it developing, how they're going to increase because the intermingling of the fraud mixed in with the government agencies and everything else, nobody knows how deep it goes in Minnesota. And I know how bad it goes in California. It's the same. They're all interconnected, and it's all about votes, maintaining power, and spreading the money amongst themselves, and the taxpayers funding it. It's A-League professional corruption. They do a very good job of it. Will it be proven? I think it's eventually going to come out. Depends on who it touches. We can already see that it's starting to touch deep into some of the major Democratic donors, and that's going to have an impact because politics and how money moves really impacts the market. So, from an NQ standpoint, a lot of positive things coming out that's keeping things alive. But at the end of the day, while you have all this investment and everything, you still have the battle between consumers keeping everything going, and that's been the struggle. And as much as you can tout new investment and everything, you got to have a healthy consumer base, and consumers badly weakened, and he's been beat up pretty hard with inflation, and it doesn't recover even in 1 year, 2 years. It doesn't happen that quick. I mean, you can see the malaise that took place through the Jimmy Carter years, and that it can have a real impact. You do the wrong things, it makes it worse. Is Trump doing the right things? Yeah, pretty close. And what Reagan did, that his biggest difficulty is energy and oil not cooperating, and that this is the problem, and this is going to keep things from being really positive, because energy impacts every sector of the economy. And we talked about the bifurcation that was taking place with electricity costs. That's another separate one now. So those compounding big headwinds, don't discount it. The fact that they're unable to control budgetary items and everything else, you're seeing this ridiculous push of the euro, and it's because they just think that the U.S. is still, going to implode, and all these European countries are going to sell their treasuries. This stupid stuff, but you got to go with what is at the current point, and at this particular stage, that's the media narrative right now, and that's what they're going with. It's going to get tamped down. It's kind of a big nightmare for them because you add tariffs into it, and it makes European goods ridiculously expensive going into the U.S. So they're not even going to be competitive at all. Not that they have been recently, but this is not a shock either. I mean, I promised you 5,000 gold way back. Yeah, and it's going to continue that way. We're not done in any way, shape, or form, because the spending is only getting worse. And the pork barrel that was in the defense bills and stuff, you can see that then you can talk about things being changed, and that's all they do. It doesn't actually get changed. And then recognizing that you're at this terminal velocity of decay, literally having no budget and not spending anything is probably the closest you could get to saving a penny at this particular stage. It's that big a disaster. So you look at cryptos, and that was going to be the next saving grace and stuff, but they want to tie themselves to the dollar as stable coins and stuff, and that kind of defeats the whole point of it. And then not very exciting, and that's why they're really not progressing that well. But in order for them to be part of the mainstream, you got to identify with the global currencies that run things, and yeah, that's not good. So you can see here with this dip all the way back here, that was a huge dip in pre-market futures. Just a recalibration setup for the most part, and we're just still back at the exact same spot, and we're just trailing in this narrow range the last couple of days after the filling in for the return Do you want to call it the post Greenland spat? Whatever it was all phony anyway. And I have to show the 5 minute this way because otherwise it gets too truncated when we look at the dip from futures that took place. So you had the big rise and they just faded it back. So this is all clean basic option play intraday, and that's the range of the volatility. But then you can see uh, once you had the big delay that it was all big boom straight back up from there in the Asian session. They just cleared the stops, took everything out, and then European session it's all golden for now. So long and the short of it for right now. And as we get into this month, then things will get more complicated rather than simpler, and then we're going to start getting into the politics of everything. So buckle up, it's going to get wild. As always, trade well. Have a good one. Anything relevant, I'll put it on our team chat.